cannot hear anything.
Are you gonna bark all day, little doggy, or are you gonna bite?
Brett,
Delusional. I love you, Jeff.
delusional. Yeah, delusional is okay in your worldview. I'm an animal. You don't chastise chickens for being delusional. You don't chastise pigs for being delusional. So you calling me delusional using your worldview is perfectly okay. It doesn't really hurt. She hung up on me.
What?
Desperate times call for faithful men and not for careful men. The careful men come later and write the biographies of the faithful men, lauding them for their courage.
Go into all the world and make disciples. Not go into the world and make buddies. Not to make brosives.
Right.
Don't go into the world and make homies.
Right.
Disciples.
I got a bit of a jiggle neck. That's a joke, Pastor.
When we have the real message of truth, we cannot let somebody say they're speaking truth when they're not.
Take an amazing journey to a place that will blow your mind.
Can you hear me? I just heard the video when I came in here, but I can't hear you at all. If you can hear me, I just wrote something in the private chat.
Hello.
They are.
All right. Okay, so here's the problem.
What's up?
Let me get back into the comments. Okay, so one of the same things happened. All right, folks, welcome to this. Sorry for the technical difficulties. It happened again. I was having sound difficulties as well as my brother. Mine was doing the same thing, and I forgot to check this. I plugged in my headset, and it defaulted to mute. I don't know why it does that, even though the system doesn't show it's muted. It's not muted in StreamYard, not muted in YouTube, not muted anywhere else. It's physically muted. I have no idea what it keeps doing that.
Is there a mute button on that headset that you're using?
There is. And depending on the device that I plug it into, sometimes it turns on and sometimes it doesn't. But apparently with this particular laptop, when I plug it into this particular port, it defaults to mute. And
Weird.
it didn't used to before. It does now.
Huh.
So
weird.
Yeah, so apologies, folks. Sorry about that. I was playing the video for a little bit. I'm sure the audience could probably hear the video from the audio.
Yeah, we could hear the video. Yeah, because I thought I couldn't hear anything at all, and then it was real quiet, and I think you were commenting, so
yeah,
I left and then checked the YouTube channel, and I could hear the video, and then I was like, okay, his video's working, just can't hear your voice.
Yeah, Maya just commented. Now I hear Jeff. So none of them could hear me. I didn't hear you though. The first couple of times you came in, it was all broken up. So there was
Yeah, it was probably when I was trying out the headset and switching back and forth.
There was a weird audio lag going on. Okay, so anyway, I think we're ready to go. Anyway, folks, because my early intro, I didn't really go into this for much, but the basic gist of my show tonight is to kind of branch out. Some people have criticized me for like going after just Darth Dawkins, so I decided to look at a few other people that were suggested by different viewers, and Jeff Durbin happened to pop up. And I had seen different videos, and I'd seen him in sort of tag team debates in the past. I think his church in Southern Arizona, I think Dr. White, I don't know if it's Mike White, Jeff White. I think it's Jeff White. I think it's another Jeff. But he's kind of a theologian and kind of a presuppositionalist or whatever. They attend kind of the same group. And these guys are kind of wacky. So I wanted to get into this guy's podcast because he's a little nuts, politically conservative, seemingly capitalist, hipster. He's got tattoos. He's got
Which one is that?
Jeff Durbin he's the one in the center in the powder blue tartan, flannel. I don't know the names of the individuals to his right or to his left, but I do know that what I've watched of this before, some of the commentary given from the woman to his left is less than inspiring. Anyway, so we're going to get into this a little bit. He's going to be talking about some of his trials and tribulations in public safety, dealing with TSA while he's been at the airports. It's like, imagine like a Jerry Seinfeld skit from the early 90s, just done horribly. That's pretty much what's going to happen here. So I'm going to talk about some of that, and then he gets into some contemporary politics, which he doesn't seem to remember some of the surrounding circumstances for a lot of contemporary politics, including the reasons why he's engaging in security stuff at the airport, which is odd. So here we go.
And move your heart so you will never be the same again.
In a world split with violence.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the episode of Apologia Radio. Tell me if you ever heard this before. I think it's good. The song is good.
It's good, yeah.
It is good. Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you.
See, that's the thing that my Bible has been missing for the longest time is synthwave music backup, because without that, that actually kept me from joining in on the January 6th insurrection.
Hey, Jeff, I think it's adorable they're trying to make Christianity relevant.
Mm-hmm. not just relevant, but like Tron relevant, which is super sad. Yeah, but here we go.
Oh, wait, real quick. Guy on the left, the video. Mm-hmm. Joe Rogan called. He wants his look back.
Joe Rogan doesn't have that much like facial hair going on, though.
I can't see that guy all that well.
I'm kind of wondering like what this thing is, because it's sort of like are you into hip hop? Probably not. Are you a Christian? Were you into skateboards? No. Are you into weed? No. Heavy metal? Only Christian. Okay. Can you maybe walk me through your look a couple times? Let me know like what's going on here, because I'm starting to think like maybe you might be on the wrong path.
Maybe not Hot Topic. Go right to let me see, where is it at? Abercrombie and Fitch over there.
Yeah, it's sort of like that. I'm like Lone Wanderer's Bunker. Let's not sully the name of Tron. No, I'm not trying to sully the name of Tron. It's just like when somebody uses like synthwave or something like that sounds like early aughts, Tron wave, whatever that is, and then like, hey, for God so loved the world, wick 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 woo, wick 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 woo, like knock that shit off, knock that shit off. Jesus as Transformer, that's played. That is played. Don't do that. Don't do that, especially if you're hoping to reach either the kids or the adults. Like you're killing everything. So here we go.
You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. This one's good. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his male servant, or his female servant, or his ox, or his donkey, or anything that is your neighbor's.
Couldn't they have just said anything? There's your neighbors. Now they're like, not the male servant, not the female servant, not the donkey, not the ox, not the VCR, not the Blu-ray, certainly not the jacuzzi or anything else. Now that we come to think about it,
And there's and the very last, there's no "thou shalt not have sex in the champagne room."
yeah,
Okay, what commandment was that? Which one is? I forget the order. The one that you shall not covet your neighbor's wife, just his servant, and all that. Which one is that?
it's Leviticus. It's the covenant code of untus. Yeah, yeah. Here we go.
Sound familiar? That used to be kind of a standard in this country in terms of transcendent divine law and something that sort of expressed public morality. I mean, there are, of course, as we all know,
Transcend divine law.
capitals and courthouses across.
Yeah, you can't cover your neighbor's slave. That's beyond the pale of human behavior. Yeah, let's not reflect on the fact that your neighbor owns a slave.
But transcends divine law. If you transcend divine law, what is that?
He's going to do this a lot in this. He's one of these. I don't know that he's a dominionist, but he sounds like one. So the grounds for laws come from God, and so if countries aren't grounding their laws in God, then they don't have any justification for any laws at all.
Well, that seems to. Okay.
I agree with Red Fang. Bullshit. Yes. Here we go.
These United States is part of this grand experiment we call United States of America that have the 10 Commandments listed, put over judges' heads, chiseled into the rock, that sort of thing. And though the Christian worldview was
Durbin, we all know that you want it tattooed into the skulls.
Okay, Dingus with the fiery beard here doesn't seem to understand that at a state level, those particular courts, they could have that.
Yeah.
Depending on the state and depending on the state's constitution, they can have the 10 Commandments plastered over their head. It's district courts and circuit courts when you start getting to the federal level, which is where that provision of the Constitution, they will not pass they will not establish a state religion, essentially.
Yeah.
That's where they're not supposed to have it. In federal court. You dick.
Yeah.
Your state courts probably could get away with it. Although now, depending on certain precedent, I'm not sure if they could. But beforehand they could have.
Yeah, because you got state and you got county level. So
he and Darth would get along well. Yes, I think Jeff and Darth would probably get along. They probably get along okay, but Jeff might not be quick enough for Darth. So that he might not be acerbic enough for Darth. So here we go.
This particular nation and so many before us, so many Christians took seriously the call to disciple the nations and teach them to obey Jesus, though it was in the atmosphere early on and provided the transcendent grounding to a lot of the blessings we have in this nation that made it what it is.
Let's think about that for a second, because I didn't mean to pause this that quickly, but one of the biggest nations that took to Christianity was Rome. And the establishment of the Roman Catholic Church is something that this guy probably is in complete disagreement with. So that's a nation that has been tutored by Christians. Christians have basically told them how things should be. And he doesn't agree with that. And some of the other countries where Christians have been very vocal, and were very vocal in certain political and cultural and business practices, would be things like the Netherlands with the slave trade.
Yeah.
The Netherlands was very Christian when it got involved in buying and selling human flesh because it was justified in doing so. And many of those people justified it using the Christian faith. So thanks, Jeff.
It is, and made it worthy of raising hands and swearing oaths to. I think that the vast majority of people today who raise the hand to swear the oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, I think that they've never read it.
No.
And they don't know why it says what it says,
right,
or what it means. And so you can see that oftentimes when you see sort of like these First Amendment audit videos, and you see people, being accosted by
Durbin.
police officers in unjust ways. You wonder.
This is the thing, Durbin. People raising their hand to swear on the Constitution, it's like hitting the check mark. I agree for terms and services. Nobody's reading that shit. They go to sleep.
But actually, the opposite is true, though. For the most part, the people that are actually doing the naturalization process, they know more about the United States, its history, its laws, civic rules, these kinds of things, than a lot of native-born people do.
Yeah.
In fact, it would be interesting. I think it would be interesting to get a group of people that were just freshly naturalized, finish the test, have them sit down and watch like a presentation where he talks about what he thinks the Constitution means and what he thinks your rights are and stuff, and just have them react to it. Because I'm pretty sure they're going to be like, wait, where did it say that?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you just made that up.
This person who swore the oath, did they know what that oath, what it meant, what they were swearing to? That's what we're going to talk about today, because we have so much happening in the world today. I mean, it's all over the world today, but particularly in the West,
like
so much is happening,
beard.
So much of a downgrade, so much destruction. And with a recent $3.5 trillion spending bill suggestion, we got to talk.
Not so much money.
We got to talk. So much is happening. So
at this point, it's just $3.5 trillion of spending. We're not going to talk about what we're actually going to be buying with that money. We're just going to talk about the price tag, and then apparently the United States has just dedicated itself to buying $3.5 trillion worth of doll heads.
Yeah,
that's kind of what this sounds like from him. Like it's just they're just buying marbles.
It's almost like you can actually hear him. Like you can almost infer from his tone that the government is taking $3.5 trillion of actual worth and just throwing it in an incinerator.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like. Yeah.
So this is the gospel heard around the world. This is Apologia Radio. You guys can get more at apologiastudios.com. That's APOLOGIA. Apologiastudios.com. You can go there. You can get all the past episodes, hundreds of them, radio shows, podcasts. You can get Sheologians with Summer and Joy. You can get Cultish with Andrew and Jeremiah. You can get Provoked with Pastor Zach and Desi. And you can get Apologia Radio.
I like how they all have these individual words like Sheologians, Provoked, Revoked.
Theologians. Exactly. Why would you want to be called anything other than theologian? What does theologian mean?
It's best not to get into that at all.
I'm just wondering how woke these fuckers are.
Yeah, nope.
Okay.
It's not woke, it's just marketing. I mean, you've seen the cringe tattoos some of these guys are sporting. Nope. Just marketing.
Radio. So much is there. You guys can go access all of that. Go and just gobble it all up and feed yourselves.
That would be fun.
A lot of really great stuff. Blessings
Mel
to
Gibson
really
tattoo.
All of us be a part of this. And you can also go to apologiastudios.com and sign up for Bonson U, which is completely free.
This is hilarious.
We need Dr. Bonson. We need his teaching. We need the comprehensive biblical worldview that he taught and defended for so long. That was seminary lectures, classroom courses, Bible studies.
Wait a minute.
We have
Stop for a
now
second.
all of it.
Wouldn't Bonson agree that it's already your worldview? You have to be taught this worldview?
No, I don't think Bonson really understood the extent of what he was talking about.
I'm just wondering, just to give charity to Bonson, if he would think that this guy is bastardizing, because you're going to have this guy teach a worldview. That worldview is supposed to automatically be presupposed. The Christian worldview.
But you got to tell people. Yeah, you got to get the word out.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah. That's fucked up.
So for Jeff Durbin, it's not a worldview; it's a trend.
Yeah,
but this is interesting because he advertises this Bonson U thing. This is totally free. You can do this. He goes on to claim here in just a second that it's better than any seminary that you could go to. You can take these free courses where you basically get indoctrinated with Bonson U theologics or whatever, and then you can go out there and you can just basically kung fu the shit out of any atheist that comes your way, and just you can just 1 inch punch the Holy Spirit directly into their sternum, and booyah, you're saved. Yeah.
I got my master's in anti-atheism from Bonson U.
Yeah, from Bonson U. Yeah.
How'd you get the How did you get the certificate? I phoned it in. It was a really easy process.
Right? Yeah. Yes. It was that, or geological sciences. Ugh. I went to Bonson U on a football scholarship. Like, did you learn a thing? No. Cracks his neck. I'm gonna make you a Christian, bitch. Like, I'm pretty sure you're the juggernaut of Christian evangelicism. All right, here we go.
In our hands at Apologia, and we are making it accessible to the world. It is a seminary level education, literally, completely for free. So it's free, and it shouldn't be. Okay, I mean, this is like the highest level of seminary education you can get. Way better than most of the seminaries you can go to.
There's advertisements on it.
He needs to tell this to the Princeton Theological Seminary or Westminster. Like, he's saying, like, this is the highest, this is the best that you can get, and it's free because it's Branson, and it's the best you can do. Like, it's jerk germs. Like, what the fuck is he doing here? Like, there's a bunch of seminary institutions here and in the UK that are like, bro, no. Like, no one is giving you credit for knowing what Bonson likes.
What's the website? Well, let's not promote the website. We'll go back. But anyway, I'm really curious. So I wonder how many advertisements are on the webpage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I
if
bet
it's like doing coursework over weather.com.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're trying to take that, but you got to click through four different ads on like seed shelters and gold futures. Like, what the fuck is this?
State.
Like, have you ever considered a 50-gallon bucket of enchiladas for the end times? Jesus is coming back and he's going to be super mad. Like, what the? Thank you, Bonson U, for making my life better. All right, here we go.
And put yourself in debt to do. We've got it for free. That's a blessing from God. Thank you to David Bonson and the Bonson family for giving it to us. More and more is coming all the time. Go get your free.
Yeah, thanks, David. All right, if I find out if I find David Bonson, probably gonna slap him around. Because you know what David Bonson is doing? He's collecting those residuals from enchilada buckets for the apocalypse.com.
Well, you know what we need to do, Jeff? You and I are going to have to do a shared stream. Well, we probably can't do that. Well, he did say it was free. He said it was free. So we could play this as a disclaimer. We could actually review the coursework. It's free.
Yeah.
So just throwing that out there. Continue.
Account if you need it now more than ever. Let me tell you right now, you need it now more than ever.
We've
been trying to convince everybody for a very long time on these things at Apologia, and now you're seeing why. And so go get it, and don't forget to sign up for All Access. You make everything we do possible. We are going to be dropping this week a couple videos from our trip out to Utah. Last week, we had the official first service for Apologia Utah. Praise God. Like 170 people in attendance for the very first service. So praise the Lord for that. That's a little bit more than we had for ours.
This is
maybe about.
These guys treat Mormons like Spanish missionaries treated the Amarans in Central and South America. Seriously, that's what they do. They go into Utah and they try to convert Mormons. It's so fucking cringe. Like,
I would try to convert them too, just to get them away from that underwear.
That underwear gives you protection. All right, it's better than those force fields that you have in Dune. If you believe that underwear works.
About 20, 30 times more. So praise the Lord for that. But we got some content out at the Salt Lake City Mormon Temple. We got content outside of an abortion facility in downtown Salt Lake. Really intense, by the way. We're not going to bleep out the stuff that was said because we want you to feel the full weight of it. So just get ready for it. It was intense. And so All Access, you make all that possible. So all the people that come to Christ on a regular basis, and I learned about two Mormons that came to Christ this last week as a result of watching the content in Apologia Studios. You make all that possible. So thank you. Let's get right into it. First, I wanted to share a quick story that sort of does really segue into the main thrust of what we wanted to do today. So I have had so many bad experiences with TSA. You? No?
Have you ever been weird? Have you ever been at the airport and you've had a bad experience? Like, this is so like 2004. Like, at this point, like, who gives a shit? But listen to this guy. Listen to the bleating and moaning that comes out of. I mean, there's a reason he's got that beard. He's a goat. bleeding and moaning the entire time.
I thought,
huh?
I was just, never mind. I was going to make a very inappropriate joke, but I'm not. I'm going to refrain.
No, look, I'm going to play this, and let's just listen to his story. His story is bonkers.
Experiences,
Yeah.
but nothing like nobody's been
You ever get
mad
felt
or
up?
rude or yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think a few times I've been through the little machine, the little
the
whatever
naked
it is.
machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was broken or whatever, and they didn't. I don't know, trust the metal detector.
Right. Thanks to Bradley Pierce, it's not so much a naked machine anymore.
Kind of naked.
It's kind it used to be they saw all your goods and stuff. Now it's very different as a result of
they're looking for Prince Albert's
fights in and sort of
they're like a pole pen.
What's that?
They're looking for Prince Albert's. Those things get confused with fucking pole pins on grenades.
Yeah, you can never tell.
Change that. So praise the Lord for that.
I didn't know Bradley Pierce was a part of that.
Yeah,
either told us recently.
Yeah. So praise the Lord. So
it's almost like you should have some right to privacy or something.
Doesn't she have a nose ring? Does she have a septum ring in? I can see something shimmering there. I hope that's not like a metallic booger. But I think she's got something going on.
I can't tell on my phone.
Yeah, it's hard to know.
One would think.
I mean, I don't want some stranger, looking at me and my wife naked.
They also
It just
don't.
seems kind of basic.
They don't so much usually when you're towing a child through. They don't always make you go through.
Yeah, if you have a big family, they let you go through the metal detector.
Right.
That is true. You get to avoid the naked machine. So I've had some bad experiences with TSA, and here's what I want to say. We've traveled around the world by God's grace, and it's a humbling experience to be able to travel around the world and preach the gospel and go all these different places. So we've seen a lot of places. We've been to Australia, we've been all over. We've been to Ireland. We've been around, and so we've actually gone through a lot of security in foreign countries and things like that. And it's really actually amazing. Some of the countries that you go to when you go through their security, you're kind of as an American going, "So does anybody want to fill me up? Anybody?"
Hang on, I gotta. So James Henry put this on here. Doing vids about Darth is much funnier. I agree. They are much funnier. This does get a little bit better as it goes on. This is a little bit different because of the format. It takes a lot longer. Darth is all red meat. It doesn't take long for Darth to get right into the cringe. Like it's just all cringe all the time. So it's like if you're used to mainlining the main source, yes, it's hard to think like, oh, okay, right. But Durbin seems like he's kind of with it. He's got product in his hair. He or someone combs his beard. The flannel is washed. You can actually see his face on camera, whatever. Okay, but so yeah, I get that. Like this is a more adjusted person than the Taco Bell denizen that I've been attacking for the last 4 months. But I promise you that this guy is going to go super fucking weird very, very quickly. So patience. Don't be superficial. Don't be superficial like those Christians that hate us all. Anyway, here we go.
They don't all.
What anybody want to?
No takers.
No takers. No one wants to. One time I walked through security and the guy was
why
just
are you
like,
taking your shoes off?
Yeah.
No,
keep your laptop in your bag.
That's literally happened. Like, what are you doing? Why are you taking your belt and shoes off right now, sir? And I'm like, oh, didn't you? You didn't want me to strip down? Like, what's and you get to the States now, and after 9/11, we assume now when we go into the airport that like. The
sounds like almost exactly like a
biblical law doesn't apply.
Comedic skit I heard.
We're going to go into this now, and a complete stranger is allowed to touch my genitals or the genitals of my children.
In the name of safety.
In the name of safety, a complete stranger.
So
I'll start this by giving you sort of like the far end. So I've had a lot of
something weird happen on this trip.
Yeah, but it wasn't as extreme as some.
No, I'm going to pause it here. No, chunky lady with the septum ring. I think maybe with the tie-dye shirt. No. Nothing really that weird happens here except for what your compatriot on the radio does. That's the best thing about the story. Does something weird happen here? Like, if you tell a story about this kind of thing, where you go on a travel story, then the weird thing that happened should happen to you or around you, right? That's kind of the general rule.
Not necessarily because of you.
Not because of you. Watch where this story goes.
I mean,
I just want to say I've never had as many.
Yeah, and I try to keep my mouth shut.
Some people kind of.
It's like you're a magnet.
I don't know what it is. I don't go in there causing problems, but if you do something that is unlawful, I'll say something. I mean, that's the key thing. I don't keep quiet about it. Like if you're okay, so as an example, and I'm sorry, everyone, this is a serious issue. It is a violation of the law, and what it speaks to is an abandonment of God's standards of justice.
Yeah.
That's the issue. This isn't just about America and Constitution and red, white, and
So it's not just it's an abandonment of the law based on its principal foundations, because it happened to Captain Skittlebeard here.
blue, woo, like, going through this. Not what this
Out
is
of
about for me.
curiosity,
I'm a minister of the gospel.
Yes.
I mean, I don't remember reading anything in the Bible that says that for security uses, another man's genitals cannot be felt by another man.
Right.
I mean,
no, you'll get that explanation. Let's just play this through.
Okay.
You'll hear what he's got.
Yep. I'll be quiet.
This is about God's law reigning supreme. And if you give way on this, it will make its way into the courts and into the court of popular opinion about how you can sling accusations at people. You can call them guilty and try to find out if they're innocent. It's reverse. So, I've had instances where, once I was coming through the Spokane airport after doing some stuff for EAN in Idaho, and, Pastor Zach and I are just having a good time. We're like glad to go home now and see our families. We're smiling. We're not even serious. And, I put my stuff up on the conveyor belt, and I noticed in the corner of my eye, homeboy is standing right in the middle of the naked machine, and he's just got this very angry sort of mad dog in me look. And, I just kind of glance, and I'm like, okay, so I'm getting everything on the conveyor belt. And then I look over at him, and he just points his finger at me, and he yells, he's like, you will not come through here until your stuff passes. And I was like, okay, all right, that's sure, that's fine. I was like, that's fine. Like, he kept going. And so finally got to the point where I walked up, I said, sir,
I want to point out one quick thing before you bring up your thing.
Yeah.
Did you catch what he referred to, how he referred to the security guard?
Mad Dog?
Homeboy. He said homeboy was mad dogging him.
Oh, yeah.
I hadn't caught that the first time I saw this. That's what he said. Homeboy.
Do you think he might be referring to the security guard's race?
Given his political affiliations? Nah, couldn't be. Couldn't be that. Nah.
Well, what I think is interesting here is, and this is being charitable, I think he may just be having a really bad experience with a really shitty TSA security person here.
He's not. Listen,
I said I was being charitable, but yeah, continue.
Yeah, no, I get that. Watch this.
Yeah.
I won't. Just tell me what you need me to do, whatever, And so I pass through the naked machine, and there is on my back, the machine goes off, this big yellow square goes off in the middle of my back. And he says, now he proceeds to just get really aggressive. He's like, well, sir, because this, showed this, we're going to have to do a full body pat down. I was like, what? He goes, we're going to do a full body pat down as procedure. And he was like, stand over here. I said, well, you can be a little more professional, respectful.
Right.
I said, but what happened? He goes, well, you look on that screen right there. You see that yellow thing? We're going to do a full body pat down. And I was like, okay, I can show you. And so I lifted my shirt and I pulled it all the way back. And I was like, there's your machine is wrong. There's nothing there.
Right.
And he was like, he proceeded to tell me that he's going to do a pat down and he's going to touch my genital area. And so I said, okay, hang on. You got to explain to me something. So your machine says there's something on my upper back. So you're going to touch my genitals now. You're a stranger and a man, and you're going to touch my genitals now because of something on my back? I said, touch my back.
Would he be okay if it were a woman? And also, here's the thing. Anytime you have these kinds of security protocols that happen, if there's a breakdown in the security protocol where one of the scanners triggers for something, that initiates the necessity for protocol the second, which is usually you need to do this particular search. There's for a lot of security protocols, whether it's TSA, private security, federal security, hell, even just state level security, one of the things that they like to do is they like to make sure that there's no discretion allowed. If A and B and C don't happen, you have A, check, B, check, C, red X, D, nope. Go right back to fondle his nuts, look for a bomb up his butt. Right? That's how that's kind of how security sort of works, at least in the United States.
They're called contingencies.
Yeah. So the fact that this guy doesn't seem to get that, he's just like, no, just check my back to see. That's not what they can do.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, it wasn't special. There was so as working as a nuclear security guard, yeah, you had a specific SOP, and you had and those procedures were laid out in that way. So yeah, like you said, something happened. There was an here with this. So now we move right to this step. We don't make it special for everyone. We just do that whole thing. Now, obviously, there can be
special call out to Greg Gaudet. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. His wool shirt probably set off the cringe meter. Yes, I think it did.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, here he goes. This is so. He's already trying to go for like special treatment. Oh, okay. Well, this happened. And so this security guard is obviously lining him up for, this is what needs to happen next. We need to do a search, right? It doesn't need to be like a special thing. Watch how Pastor Jeff, secure in the faith Durbin, deals with this.
Yeah. And now the other thing I wanted to say was one of the things that we would say when we did full body pat downs, when I haven't done these in a long time, but when I remember doing them, nuclear security, was we would say when you're doing a full body pat down, you're getting high up on the leg, and some people are, they're displayed differently down there. Right. Some people hang lower than others. And so we would tell them, forgive me if I touch your genitals.
Which is what this guy did. That's what he mentioned before.
But it sounded like the way Durbin was saying it was the guy is saying, I'm going to have to check your genitals.
Yeah, but consider what he said before. He's like, homeboy was mad dogging me. And now he's like, I'm going to have to grope them nuts. Like, he's already kind of, like, sorry to say this, but it kind of seems like to me like he's trying to intimate like this. Well, what Jeff Durbin endures in this entire story, if you once we play this through,
is the raping of his soul.
It's the equivalent of prison sex. Yes. It's the equivalent of prison sex legally.
All right.
Watch this.
I'll show you my back. I said, why are you going to touch my genitals because of something on my back?
He has to search
he was like, that's procedure. And he was like, stop giving me a hard time or this is going to get worse for you sort of a thing. And I was like, all right, go ahead and do your thing. And I said, but
this is going to get worse for you.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, he ended up calling a supervisor over. So what I proceeded to do is there's people everywhere. And a situation like this,
he doesn't go into that because the supervisor, the guy's supervisor was a 5'1" white woman that Jeff Durbin didn't perceive as a threat, so that's not necessary for the story.
Well, he's already consented. He said, "Yeah, fine, I'll do it." But now he's still just being an ass.
Yeah, he's still being an ass. Watch this. Yeah. Listen to this.
I want you to consider what's happening in our culture now. Here's a man who is allowed to touch my most private area. He's allowed to do it in public because of something that's not even related to my private area, right? And and everyone is just allowing this to take place. So if it's going to be uncomfortable for me,
funny.
I'm going to make it
his most private area when his wife's around.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with it. The fact that an area, something on your body went off, facilitates the full body search, not the part of the body where the scanner found it. He seems to be acting like, well, the scanner seems to think that there's something in my lower back. Why can't you just pat my lower back and tell me I'm a good boy and let me go on? Like, nah, bro. I got to put one of my fingers up your butt.
Yeah, and without knowing their policies, because I know when you use the hand wand, the thing is to clear the alarm. So if you were scanning someone's back and something, there's something like this has happened where people wearing a belt. What'd somebody say?
Trevor Lunds, at worst means tongues are involved. Maya writes, has he ever been in an airport before? Yeah, this sounds like the kind of this is the kind of incredulity that I would have expected from somebody like in 1990, 2000, 2001 in the spring, of 2001.
Yeah, but if he was thinking in his head, like you can resolve the alarm, similar to like, I don't know if Durbin's actually thinking this or not, but when they use a hand wand and they might beep on something, they have to clear the alarm. I've had it where people have had rivets on the backs of their jeans and you have to and that's how you clear it.
Yeah, and that's what AJ, my guess is the metal and the ink on his tramp stamp set off the detectors. Yeah, and this guy wears like, he kind of wears like frilly belts and shit. So, who knows what set it off. That's not the point. The point is, if it gets set off, hang on. The point is, if it gets set off, then you have to go into the next stage of searching. I've been through that like at least 4 times. I haven't traveled that much in my life.
Well, do those do an air check? Do those do a sniff test of you? Like, are there puffs of air when you walk through it, or is it just a body scanner?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I'm just kind of curious because I didn't know if they actually implemented that into those machines where they actually would look for detect for explosives.
And he doesn't know that either. He doesn't know what's triggering.
Yeah.
He says that whatever the scanner picked up happened in the small of his back, which is like, okay, fine. I've had that happen before. And the last, when I traveled before, I used to travel a lot more than I do now. And I've been through those checks 3 times, at least 3 times.
They had the full scanners back then?
Twice the last time I traveled, they had the full back scanners. And whether I had to go through them or not, if somebody asked me about it and they had to do like the full search, they would basically give me the same routine that they told me, like, I'm going to have to do a full body search, blah, blah, blah. I might touch your nuts. I might, that's not how they said it, but my hands may come close to your genitals. I apologize. This is not sexual. I need to make sure that this is a comprehensive search. They had a whole language for it. Like, go nuts, guys. And they would. And then I would experience full release and everything was great. Everything worked out great. So sorry.
Full service. What the government is supplying people right now is a full service deal.
It's a socialist deal on hand jobs, if you ask me. No. Sorry, folks. I'm a little too adult. Anyway, there you go. Okay, so I'm not going to pause this anymore. I'm going to play this through. Listen to what he does to the security.
All right. Yeah, you're getting out of control here.
Every time he put his hands, in my private area, I just started yelling out into the airport. I was like, and now he's touching my genitals. And his face was blood red. He's getting more and more angry. And so I was just like, look, I said, what you're doing right now is wrong. I was like, I don't know you. You don't know me. And because of something on my back.
He shouldn't want to do it.
Exactly.
Like, why is there...
So supervisor comes over.
He doesn't want to do it, you fat weirdo. You chubby cow. He's doing it because it's his fucking job. And this idiot is making it fucking awkward by yelling into the entire airport, he's touching my genitals, because he's a snowflake and thinks that the reason that he's being singled out for this is because security features in the United States have lost their common sense. Who they need to be looking for are atheists and Muslims, right? Like, even though he's kind of got a Muslim beard. So I don't get this whole, his particular take on this. I thought this was great. He's like, you're touching my genitals. That's the kind of guy that makes your job worse for everyone. So that guard, if this really happened, that particular security guard is telling people that he works with and will continue to tell people for the rest of his life that Jeff Durbin did that to him, despite the fact that that particular guard was forced to do that particular search procedurally. And Jeff Durbin turned it into a fucking point of agony for him.
Yeah, when we worked at
Jeff. Way to go.
When I worked at the nuke site, if a person acted in that way, we had this happen a few times. Normally what would happen is they demand to see a supervisor. We'd call the supervisor up on the radio. He'd come up to the turnstiles, ask for the guy's badge, to take his badge, like, give me your badge. And he'd go back and he'd check it. And then he would, and then come back and then give him back the badge and say, you can go.
Yeah.
You can leave. You can leave for the day. I just told your supervisor.
Ox, I apologize. I apologize for calling her chubby and fat. I myself am chubby and fat. I should have said, you tie-dyed shirt wearing weirdo.
Mm-hmm.
I should have shamed her for the clothes she chose to wear. Secular Pagan Mom said, chubby cow. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna stick to that. Yes, she is a chubby cow. She is a chubby cow. She is sitting here on this entire channel. He's telling the story, and she's just like, I wonder why that guy didn't quit his job.
But Jeff, she doesn't identify as you're misnaming, right? You do know that. She doesn't identify as chubby. She identifies as festively plump. There's a difference.
Are you talking about the tie-dyed girl? And
yeah.
Don't do that. All right. I'll play the rest of this. Here we go.
Look, I said, here's the issue. I said, you guys work for the government. You swore an oath to the Constitution. I said, you are doing something that is unreasonable right now. It's not right. And you're touching a stranger's genitals because of something that went off my back. I said, does that make sense to you? Is there even any connection there between those things?
Because part of the scattershot scans that were developed were based on the fact that one of the guys that got onto a plane with a bomb tried to set it off. He had a bomb in his underwear. which is the reason why they do those personal searches so close. If Durbin were being honest about this, and he actually had some kind of sense of history, he would know that part of this whole, security theater is based on the fact that we did have a guy, what was his name, Harris? I think that was his last name. He was the underwear bomber. And that was the reason why some of those searches happened. And that was the reason why those scattershot scans ended up becoming a thing, even though they were kind of controversial.
You just actually kind of said the same thing twice, just kind of in reverse.
Sorry. Yeah.
Just pointing that out.
I got through and everything was fine. I've had a few instances like that, and I don't think the stranger should be able to touch your genitals for no reason.
Agreed.
I think it's
reasonable.
It seems like a baseline thing.
Well,
wait a minute.
Does he have a problem with people touching George Floyd's genitals in arresting him?
But no reason. The reason is for security. Does he think he can make up his own standards of what constitutes security measures for him?
This is what I think is interesting about this, right? And so,
this is the most entitled. Yeah, this is the most entitled white man ever.
There's no reason to check him because he's a white guy. He's got a ginger beard. Who you need to be checking are those people who are like the Sikhs with the turbans, or those people that identify with Muslim on their
well,
documents.
we don't know that. We don't know that.
Somebody named Muhammad. We don't know that that's what he's talking about. But in this particular case, for whatever reason, he's acting as if he should have been exempt from this. This was a miscarriage of justice. Why did they target me? How dare they? I'm a ginger man in the United States. How dare they?
But does he ever? Well, does he ever bring up how many men are also victims of this abuse? This violation of their Constitution or their constitutional rights?
No.
So he doesn't scream out for his fellow victims, for himself and other men that have been violated in that way. Does he think that he was singled out?
Hang on. Nor does he bring up the rate of this. He just this security theater shouldn't happen while he's traveling because it's obviously bad. But the reason that security travel is that kind of security theater is happening came from the reactions from a lot of people in the evangelical community that wanted people to police the Muslims who were getting on flights and stuff. They wanted people searched. They wanted them to check their nutsack and, tuck a finger up into their pink Cheerio or whatever to make sure they didn't have a bomb up in their underwear, or some kind of Skittles in their shoes or whatever, The fact
Make
that
they're not the polka dot man.
The fact that this guy seems to forget about it's like he's forgotten about the last 20 years of history. Why are we even doing this? Because 9/11, you dumb fuck. The last guy the evangelicals turned into a statue and made into a hero was George W. Bush because of what he did in regards to the whole war on terror crap. And the fact that now you got Donald Trump in there, and now you got a bunch of these people who are just a bunch of fucking entitled weirdos. Why should I have to stop and do anything? Why should I have to bend over and grab my sack? Well, I don't know, bitch. Maybe you could be carrying a bomb since January 6th. It's anyone's game now. Moron. Ugh, this guy's the worst. He's the worst. Anyway, I'm gonna play this a little bit more. Here
we want to work for in our culture, hashtag don't touch the genitals. I don't know, it seems like sort of a rule we should have. So this week we're coming home from Utah. Now, mind you, we're populating the earth here. Okay, it's like Luke's family, Zach's family, my family. We're legitimately populating the earth. It's hard to go out and eat together,
right?
Because it's you guys want to go eat together.
In fact, you only could find an Airbnb because you were in Salt Lake City.
Exactly, because you got
a lot of huge families are.
You still had to get two.
A lot of strange family situations going on. Why do they have 3 houses in one house? I can't figure out why there's 3 kitchens and there's 3 levels. I can't figure it out. I don't know why. It's weird. So it's hard enough as it is for all of us. But we have children everywhere. I mean, I got my kids. I got a baby. I got a 2-year-old. He's got 2 small kids and a baby and his wife.
In a car seat.
And Zach is.
AJ, I'm going to apologize to you right now. The guy the asshole that suggested that I review this idiot's video, it was me. I found this video 2 weeks ago. And I highlighted it, and I wanted to do a review of it. So, AJ, I apologize. Forgiveness, please.
I'm the asshole.
I'm that asshole.
Apparently part of the Quiverful movement, and so he's just got kids lined up all the way down.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
So anyway,
I like how they're just like laughing about the Quiverful movement. Oh, he's got tons and tons of kids. Like, is he financially okay to deal with that? Like, no, he's not.
Was his wife there? No, she's wheelchair
now, and I'm
bound.
told, guys, I'm
yeah, exactly. Like, no, he's under enormous amount of stress. You have no idea. You have no fucking idea. Like, dude, it sounds like most of your doctrines are built around the idea of like hazing, and this sort of sounds like a like kind of a biblical biker club. Like,
well, I
no,
like
that's
how,
not what it is. I like
how this sounds like this is like some unique experience. Like, how many times did we go camping together with family, and go all out to eat together, like what or on vacations and stuff? Yeah. Why is this so weird? I don't understand. Maybe it's just me, but he's making it sound like this is just something that doesn't happen. Like this is such a this is such a unique experience. This multi-family grouping, all doing one thing together. It's weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Let's play this a little bit and see what's going on.
Telling you, I'm not being a troublemaker. I just want to get in my airplane with my family and go home. I'm innocent. I'm innocent. I'm not carrying any weapons. I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything bad. I'm an innocent person. And so we walk up, and then now we're like, oh wait, there's going to be a dog search now.
Hey,
they have like 3 TSA guys, 2 police officers, and they got this dog.
Hang on, what?
He's an innocent person. The security guard's an innocent person, and that innocent person is groping your innocent balls.
It should be, it should just be as easy as that. Listen to what he does here.
The security guard didn't come up with that policy, dude.
He doesn't care. Like, he's trying to get these people to like, hey, can't you like change this stuff for me? Like, do you understand how management works? You dumb shit.
But he took it from an individual experience. This particular experience with this one particular security guard, and it's like, okay, well, this could just be the bad security guard, but is he still following the procedures set up? Because he doesn't come up with that. Those came down from higher. So, okay, now start getting into the system is rigged, and then how you would like special privileges for yourself before getting, when it comes to you receiving a full body pat down.
Well, that's not the problem that I have. The problem that I have is that he seems to be very inconsistent about the fact that like as a Christian, one is to be of the world, right? Or to be in the world, but not of the world, right? The idea of conforming to these kinds of things is not supposed to be a major issue. And yet he's making it one. And that's what bothers me about this. He seems to be like, well, no, you don't understand. Like, this is fundamentally, it strikes at the heart of the entire, American political project or whatever. Like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't have anything to do with that. That's just, you didn't want your testicles bumped during a strip search because somebody thought that you might have like a Toblerone in your back pocket or something. Like, it's not that hard. It's not that difficult. He's like, oh, no, you don't understand our liberty and stuff. Like, oh, the fuck ever.
If he doesn't want that kind of thing, just now that you just reminded me, you can take a Toblerone and if you stick it in between your ass cheeks and let it melt a little bit, you can just say, well, I apparently had an accident. So,
and you can flick that on the next person that has to strip search you, in TSA. Yeah, exactly. Sir, I'm detecting. Have you ever heard the song, sir? Milk, lemonade, round the corner, fudge is made. Because I think that's what happened. Sorry. All right, I'm going to play this.
Then the person looks at him. Only at this time, it is actual fudge.
Yeah, that's actual fudge. Okay, here we go.
Dog search you. Mm-hmm. So let's stop and think about God's law now.
Just to be clear, he was the dog.
God's law.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. That's a search.
Man, the training they have for dogs these days, it's really, really.
The dog is sniffing my genitals.
You're almost okay with it. They're so cute.
These idiots are just. This is so precious. I'm like, oh, they let an animal near my bits. Are like, are you okay? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like,
now the TSA knows how to accommodate it. Then you're going to have two dogs stationed there to alternate, so they'll burn themselves out. And when they have to do that, this big German Shepherd walks up to you and shoves its schnoz up your ass.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is just so cringe. I have no idea. Like they're just
They're
like
super cute. You're super cute, and it's not another man.
Yeah, they're just being like, oh, hey, can you believe that that's what they do? Like, yes. Like in the times that I've had these incidents happen, like I've had three experiences where I've been pulled into like TSA secure checkpoints. I have had the close search done by 2 women and 1 man. At no point did I get any of the women pregnant, and at no point did me and the man involved become gay as a result of the like. I have look. This is so stupid from these guys. Like, Jesus. All right.
Yeah, well, it's different for a dog, I suppose. You can't help it. So you, sir, can't help it. This thing can. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, what's wrong here? What's wrong here is that what you're doing is you're treating the general public as though they are guilty, and I need to prove you're not.
Right.
Right. And the rule in God's law is 2 to 3 witnesses. You're not allowed to even bring a charge unless there's 2 to 3 witnesses, and then there has to be cross-examination the whole way through. The person's supposed to be seen as innocent until it's like, nope, they're guilty. Why? Because of evidence and witness. So that provided the foundation for justice in the West. That's good. That's really good. And
it's also what we tend to hate, like all these people that are up in arms about the justice system and police and stuff. Usually those issues arise because an officer is treating someone guilty when he doesn't actually know that.
I saw a video last night of a guy. This in the show is like, watch, you give one direction. You're like, it's no big deal. Just do it. I mean, you're at the airport, get on the plane, whatever. You give there, it's going to spread. It's like cancer. And so I saw a video last night of just this young man. He was not speeding. He was
hang on.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say, I don't know what God's law has to necessarily do with this guy performing the procedure of a pat down, or that particular pat down procedure.
Yeah, and it doesn't make any sense to me either, because the thing that he's actually talking about it has nothing to do with what he's talking about. He's talking about, like, he is equating a
pat down search to an accusation.
He's talking about an airport search resulting in a court proceeding where he is going to spend time in jail. Like, that has nothing to do with this. This is not the same thing. He's acting as if that's what's happening here. It's like, no. Most of the legal protections that he's talking about, it's about whether or not a person is inevitably going to have to end up in jail. That's the whole point of that kind of stuff, like habeas corpus and all those other legal traditions. This idea that you're going to be detained for a little bit, or you're going to go through some security stuff or whatever, that has nothing to do with this Fourth Amendment process that he's talking. Uh-oh. I think my brother just disappeared. All right. Let me play this on, see if he comes back.
Not doing anything on the road that was illegal. He was literally pulling into his neighborhood to come home. Cop pulls him over and says, "Sir, random mandatory DUI test." And so he says to the guy, "What? And
random and mandatory."
And so he goes, "Yeah, exactly, mandatory." And so this kid goes, "Sir, was I weaving? And no. What was I speeding? No, sir. What did I do for you to pull me over?" And he was like, "Nothing." He's like, "I'm just doing a mandatory DUI thing." So he's like, "So you got to do this test." And the guy goes, "I'm not doing it." He's like, I'm not doing it. I didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
And so this comp's like, well, if you refuse the mandatory DUI test, if you refuse it, even though he had no cause to give it,
right.
If you refuse it, he said, then you're going to jail. And then the kid, good on him, he said, take me to jail. He said, because I'm going to win and I'm going to sue you, because what you're going to find out when you pull my blood is I'm not drinking.
Right.
And so you have no reason to pull me over. So what is that in that case? You're guilty in my eyes. I presume you're guilt. And I'm going to see if I can get evidence that you're innocent. Mm-hmm. Now at the airport.
Well, you're so guilty that I will wait until I know you're innocent for you to not be guilty.
Exactly.
So that's like you're actually going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not how that works. And most of those drug stop kind of things, they don't work on that either. The idea that you are operating a vehicle under the influence of alcohol, you are not in the same legal situation that you would be if you were walking around your house or walking down the street. You are not totally operating under rights. You're operating under privileges. And one of those privileges is your privilege to operate a motor vehicle on state, city, national roads. That's one of the reasons why they can do that. So this isn't that tough. But apparently some Christians have a problem with authority. Go figure.
It's unknown what you are, but I'm actually going to assume you're guilty.
I'm pretty dang sure that you're guilty. We'll see if we get you out of this.
Feeling in my gut.
Let's see if we can get you out of this one.
Which also, I'm sorry, but that makes any sort of drunk driving statistics like
right.
They're just pulling people off the street, potentially people who have not had that much to drink. That
well, it's interesting.
It's all based off of the
police.
officers.
A police crew pulls over a random line of vehicles on a road. They say, we're going to block the street up, pull you over, and they stop your car. So they stopped your freedom to travel, and they say, have you been drinking? What a weird question. How you doing? Nice to meet you. Have you been drinking? Or they say things like, where have you been tonight? Where are you going? That's an odd thing for you to ask me.
You don't have freedom to travel on state infrastructure. This is the problem that Durbin seems to miss. You don't have a right to the highways. You have the right to just kind of travel. So if somebody wanted to set off on foot and just, head on over to the next state, police aren't going to be able to do anything about that, other than maybe if that person's sleeping it off someplace in some weird hubby hole or whatever, and they can claim that they're sleeping rough or something like that. But the idea of traveling on the highway, you are not entitled to drive on the highway. The highway is owned by the federal government. You're not entitled to drive on state roads either. Those are maintained by the state. So there's a certain privilege to being able to operate a vehicle on those roads. That's the point of the driver's license.
This person who has had one drink would say yes, but not a lot.
Right.
But
right. Have I damaged property?
Right.
Have I hurt anybody? So I haven't even committed a crime. Now I get pulled over and the police officer.
That's not. They have probable cause to pull you over during a check stop because you are operating on public roads. They can pull you over for those reasons. They don't have to think that so one of the things about probable cause is usually when those particular checkpoints go down, especially if it's like a drunk driving thing, it's happening on a Friday night or Saturday night when a lot of people that are returning home or going to places might have alcohol in their system. That's probable cause. And because those roads are publicly owned, they have the ability to engage in those dragnets.
Starts asking questions to see if they can prove that I'm innocent. Because the assumption is you're guilty. Let me see if you're not. Right. And so at the airport, going through, police dog is searching now every person. That is a search. The dog is trained to find stuff and he's searching. So what is the Fourth Amendment? Illegal search and seizure. Right. What is that? Now watch this. By the way, so everyone goes in the right place here. We aren't arguing as red-blooded Republican American people, right? That's not how I'm arguing. I'm arguing as a minister of the gospel who has an eye on Lex Rex. The law is king. Divine law transcends everything, right?
Except that whole idea about divine law. That divine law thing sounds like something a little bit extra.
Right? And so here we have a situation where you're coming through, everyone's getting searched by this dog. No witnesses have been brought forward. No warrant has been issued. The biblical worldview gave rise to the Fourth Amendment. What's that mean? In order to get somebody to be searched, to believe the accusation that they're guilty, you've got to go before a judge and present witnesses and evidence that this person is guilty so we can now search them. Where does that come from? That comes from Jesus. You're welcome, secularists. You like the Fourth Amendment? You like innocent before proven guilty? That comes from Moses. That comes from the law of God. So
that's in a court. That's if you're facing a penal charge. That's if you're looking at going to jail. Not if you're looking at a citation. The hell are you talking about? A citation or some kind of civil infraction has nothing to do with that. And what Jeff here is talking about is just absolute bullshit. If what he's talking about actually holds up, it matters only in the sense that, in the case of federal charge or whatever, needs to be supported in that particular way. We weren't talking about like misdemeanors or something like that. None of that stuff actually applies. This is total bullshit. Hey, Jay.
What did I miss? Sorry, I had something come up here at work. So
nothing. I just wanted to I'll actually roll this back and play this. You let me know if you figure this out here. Hang on.
Rex, the law is king. Divine law transcends everything, right? And so here we have a situation.
Someone who has had one drink would say yes, but not a lot.
Right,
But
right. Have I damaged property?
Right.
Have I hurt anybody? So I haven't even committed a crime. Now I get pulled over and the police officer starts asking questions to see if they can prove that I'm innocent. Because the assumption is you're guilty. Let me see if you're not. Right. And so at the airport, going through, police dog is searching now every person. That is a search. The dog is trained to find stuff and he's searching. So what is the Fourth Amendment? Illegal search and seizure. Right. What is that? Now watch this, by the way, so everyone goes in the right place here. We aren't arguing as red-blooded Republican American people, right? That's not how I'm arguing. I'm arguing as a minister of the gospel who has an eye on Lex Rex. The law is king. Divine law transcends everything, right? And so here we have a situation where
divine law transcends everything. What were we going to say, Jay?
Oh yeah, I was just mentioning. I think before you went live, you had touched on this portion a little bit.
Okay, yeah, watch this.
You're coming through, everyone's getting searched by this dog. No witnesses have been brought forward. No warrant has been issued. The biblical worldview gave rise to the Fourth Amendment. What's that mean? In order to get somebody to be searched, to believe the accusation that they're guilty, you've got to go before a judge and present witnesses and evidence that this person is guilty so we can now search them. Where's that come from? That comes from Jesus. You're welcome, secularists. You like the Fourth Amendment? You like innocent before proven guilty? That comes from Moses. That comes from the law.
He's just being stupid. Now, part of this, actually, he's not entirely wrong. He's not entirely wrong. Some of this actually does come from Judaism. The notion of, innocent until proven guilty. That part he actually has right. But this crap that he's talking about, I'm like, oh, you know what? Oh, you can't do this without a warrant and all this kind of stuff. Yes, they can. Probable cause is differentiated between different states of affairs, different locations. Like, so there's, what you're doing within your own house is obviously a lot more sacrosanct than what you're doing at the bus stop or the train station or at the airport. At those places, there's a public need for security. So those are slightly different. If Jeff here is trying to say, like, no, I have the same right to privacy when I'm at the airport, given whatever it is I want to do, when I'm in my house, wherever that is, well, then he's lost his mind. Those are legally different distinctions. So.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a mentality here where, depending on how, in the way security, there's a difference between being presumed or having someone assume that you're guilty. You're assuming someone might be acting suspiciously.
Right.
You assume suspicion, right? If suspicion leads to guilt, then that's different. But either way, you kind of want security. If you want this, if you were like one of these people, if Jeff Durbin was like one of these people that was very much for like tighter screening at secure, at the airports and stuff because of what happened on 9/11. Okay. So what's your issue? What's your problem?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you can't tell, but this guy's got this kind of, maniacal, like, oh, this is how things have to be. Like, yeah, I think you might be talking out of your ass, but.
Law of God. So this dog now is searching everybody at the airport who's coming through security screening. And all I said very to the TSA people who were doing this and to the police officers.
This is great.
I said, gentlemen, you should read the Fourth Amendment. You swore an oath to it. You need to read it. And they look at me like, real.
Can you imagine how fucking obnoxious this is? And so they've got a search dog going through, and they're doing their TSA stuff. And this guy, this fucking, this beard on a pole, showing up and is like, hey, have you ever read the Constitution? Have you ever read it? Nope. And is doing that kind of crap. Like, you want to smack this guy with a fucking halibut.
Now, last I checked, unless they've changed things, and I don't know if this goes for necessarily all airports, but aren't the police normally called to the checkpoints? The police aren't at the checkpoints full time.
No, yeah, they're not.
So he's now saying that, according to his narrative here, that he's telling the security guards, I'm assuming this is after he was screaming out that he was being a victim of some kind of sexual molestation, that now he's talking about the Fourth Amendment to security guards and now the police that have been called.
Yeah.
Would I be correct in assuming that there is this little tiny detail in his narrative that's missing, as in, when were the cops called? What did you do that caused the cops to come up there? Was it you screaming at the top of your voice? Anyway, sorry. This guy's he's a Marin County housewife.
Yeah.
And as I'm like walking my way up to get searched by the dog, I'm just looking at each one and I'm saying, I encourage you just to read the Fourth Amendment. I said, this is guilty before proven innocent. This is an illegal search right now because you don't have a warrant to search me. And so they were like looking at me all confused, like, huh? And I said, just go read the Fourth Amendment. Just consider it. So then I get searched by the dog. We walk past, and there's another TSA guy at the end. He's looking at me real confused.
I love how, he's like, just read the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution.
Wait.
I don't know if you've ever, I don't know if you've ever done that. Tittle. Like,
he might.
Here's the problem with what he's doing.
Well, actually, I can solve this really quick. The reason why he can't figure out why the cops are confused is because when you came into the airport and you checked in, there's signs up declaring what you are submitting yourself to.
Yes.
You are agreeing. So consent is implied when you get to the checkpoint.
When you step in. Yeah, when you step through. Yeah.
The consent to all of what's going to be happening to you is implied the moment you enter wherever they have the signs posted, which knowing these things, I think they have them posted. Last time I was at an airport was just to pick someone up.
Right.
So, but I remember seeing them. You actually consent to search when you pull up to the curb and somebody drops you off, when you're dropping someone off.
Right. But inflammation here has to tell everybody that this has to go a different way. This is my problem with this guy. This is why I dislike the fuck out of this guy. Yeah, he's just he's like, I don't think you guys understand. I'm like, yeah, I think I do understand. I think that you're making this into something a lot different than it is. You snowflake. And he knows he's doing that.
Yeah, we used to tell people that came on site when I worked at the nuke site, because there's signs up saying that you consent to search at any time and you can be removed without warning. Obviously, it's a nuclear plant, right? Person comes in through this, they work there, they're having a bad day, they start bitching about how this is against the law, and we point at the sign and we go, would you like me to call your supervisor? And they can go over what you just consented to by coming through this line. Because it's posted right before you pull up. You have plenty of time to turn around and leave.
From my issues, I would say he's leaving things out, but I truly don't even believe this is a real story. Yeah, I'm not entirely convinced this is a real story. And if it is a real story, the way that he's spinning this is fucking horseshit.
Yeah.
So let's play this and see what he says next, because some of the points that he makes here are just fucking awful.
I said I just want to encourage you just to read the Fourth Amendment. You
need to read the Fourth Amendment.
Read the Fourth Amendment. And so as I walk away,
I'm a civil servant. I just want to say this. I'm a civil servant. I've been told this millions of times that I should read the actual Constitution. I should read that. Here's the problem with that. There is a state constitution that I'm also expected to conform to, which a lot of Americans don't seem to fucking understand exists. Every state in the United States has its separate constitution and has a separate body of laws. And the fact that most, especially conservatives, don't seem to understand that pisses me the fuck off. If you're conservative, you should understand that every state has its own state level constitution. The idea that some idiot like Durbin here is like, well, have you ever read the US Constitution? Yeah, what the fuck does that have to do with the application of laws happening at an airport outside the boundaries of my state that actually transverse state and federal laws and require me to perform my duties based on an oath sworn to FAA regulations, which are part of the regulation of the laws of the U.S. These guys are. Durbin is acting like, no, I don't think you understand this. I don't think you get it at all. You're violating the laws of the Constitution. Like, no, they're not. There's a layer to this, layers to this. Durbin is trying to simplify it and say, like, well, do you know that you're violating the Fourth Amendment? No, they're not violating the Fourth Amendment, and neither are you. None of that is actually fucking happening. You're bringing that up to inflate this issue into something that doesn't matter because you're an idiot. Anyway, I'll go on.
I'm going to step up. I'm going to step out and come back in.
Okay.
He says, well, if you don't like us breaking the law, don't fly.
Right. And that's the argument we've all been hearing, which is like, okay, fine, don't get stabbed with a medicine, but you'll just lose social privileges.
Right. Your job, your ability to feed.
And it's like, what do you mean? What do you mean you'll just like what? That's not an argument,
right?
Like, just because you say that I'll lose them, that's never been like that. Like, It's never been that way.
Okay, that woman sounds a little bit like an idiot. I think she might be talking about vaccinations, but whatever she's talking about sounds stupid. What?
Did we jump ahead somehow?
No.
Oh.
But yeah, it's like, oh, well, if you just
submit,
right?
If
you just submit, you'd be flying fine,
right?
I mean, just let us do all these things.
Don't fly,
sir. We like dogs and patting genitals here. If you don't like that, then don't fly.
Well, the dog has read the Constitution, but he just hates the Constitution.
The dog's sitting in the back. He's just going, come on, smell. He's like,
no, I will not.
I mean, the fact that he said, well, if you don't,
you consented to your.
I know.
That's what he said.
I know. It's one thing if he's like, if you don't like it, then
he
don't
doesn't
fly.
understand.
Say, well, no,
I can't believe he does not understand that.
What?
The implied consent part. You can scream. Let's say that the Fourth Amendment, let's say he's 100% correct. He should read the Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment applies here. Yes, but you consented.
Oh yeah. No,
the consent was implied. So again, going right back to he's just saying the same. I don't think he realizes how useless it is that how useless his rant is. If he actually realized, like what you said, with the actual individual state constitutions, and then the fact that there's signs up that say that you are consenting to search by being there. So, anyway,
it's an admission that he's doing something.
Yeah, he said it, all sort of pompous. And I'm thinking to myself, did he really just say that? And my family's with me. Did you hear what he said? I was like, that's insane. Can you imagine?
Well, I mean, isn't that just kind of the foolishness? Like, I need you to recognize my right to break the law based off of
and again see, this is what people have to understand.
Here
this issue is a principled issue. It's a fundamental issue of how you will treat other human beings. Now, if you do it in one case over here, it means that Constitution, that Lex Rex, that law isn't really ruling the land. No one really believes it. This is just theater. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So this, like, nowadays, I believe this. I think most politicians today, and most of the people who go to swear an oath to uphold Lex Rex, the law of the land, this is the law. I believe it's theater, right? Because it doesn't matter anymore.
And they are upholding the law when they ask you if you will consent to doing certain things. It's informed because they put the signs up.
Right. And if you were doing it, if you were mocking something like Lex Rex and saying like, I'll do it because it's part of the whole thing. Neat.
Yeah, you can suspend your right to Fourth Amendment just by consent.
Right.
So, remember, this is your ability to travel on this airline is contingent on these private owners, this publicly owned enterprise, while federally regulated, is still run by private companies.
But so that's not my issue with this. My issue is these guys. They have a problem with understanding what consent means. So,
or anybody. Why? Because we live in a humanist society, a secular society that doesn't recognize that there's a transcendent law, a divine law above the law of the king and the government.
No.
But he's bitching about how he was treated as a fellow human being, but he wants something that transcends that.
Yeah.
He's appealing to kind of to a humanistic principle. So
he's appealing. He's actually appealing to Western tradition.
Yeah, but
I want a Christian salvation thing to actually pull me out of this method. And I don't want, like, there's other methods that could pull him out of this particular routine. But there's other Taoist versions or, various other methods that could pull him out of this routine, but they would not end in the kind of like salvation or, the salvific worship of, the Western tradition or whatever. It's not actually going to happen.
Okay.
So.
And everybody else. And so why would anybody hold to this crazy thing from hundreds of years ago? Why does it really matter? Why can't it just be malleable? Why can't we just shape it as time goes along? They don't believe in a transcendent law. And so it becomes malleable. I can just do it as I please. I don't know what it means anyways. I don't believe it. I don't believe that it's a standard. And so you have people at the airport now treating everybody as guilty until proven innocent. And what takes place now when accusations come forth at a public level where, let's say, for example, a man is accused of rape publicly, just accusation goes out.
People are accused of something.
Wasn't he accusing the guy? Wasn't he implying an accusation by screaming out in the airport that man was touching his genital?
Yeah. This makes no sense, right?
I mean, it's like he was basically doing because now he's going, yeah, you raped me. So yeah, you're basically, wow. Anyway, go ahead.
He's appealing to the same standard that he wants to upend.
And then all of a sudden you find out later that the whole country came in on it and said, yeah, this guy's a rapist. And you find out the woman confesses later, I lied about the whole thing. Yeah. But everybody said, no, the accusation was made, so therefore it's true. Why? Because we're going to assume the guilt of everybody until we can prove your innocence. Right. That goes into the court system. Look, if you don't
were assuming some kind of guilt when that guy was touching your balls.
Being abused in the court system.
Yeah.
I'm with you 100%. We need God's law to rule the courts. We do. We need people like John Jay who will literally reference the law of God as the transcendent law beneath this case law in our country. We need that. I don't want minorities persecuted and abused in the court system. But here's the deal. The reason I think that you see all this abuse in the court system is because this law doesn't matter any longer. It's sort of, it's whimsical. Like, how do you feel today? And what should this punishment be? So, for example, and then we're going to bring our good friend Zach Lautenschlager in for a good discussion on the spending bill so you guys can hear some details about that. A couple years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, there was an abortion doctor who pulled a gun and waved it at our friend Elvis, who does ministry outside the abortion clinic at a KC Women's Center in Phoenix.
Jesus.
So we had the whole thing on videotape. The police officers of Phoenix would not help us. We had to eventually come to you all and share to everybody what was actually happening.
Wait a minute.
And when we did that within
he didn't think that the abortion doctor could stand his ground?
Apparently not. Yeah, this is a weird, like the way he presents this is really weird. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was odd too.
Phoenix Police Department arrested Dr. Eunice. And it was only because we appealed to the public. Look, we have an abortion doctor pulling a gun on people standing on a public sidewalk outside of his abortion facility. Now, what do you think would have happened? Because a week went by with the report and the video to the Phoenix Police Department. A week went by with zero.
Out of curiosity, I wonder how he feels about that couple that stood outside there at the right there at their driveway up by their garage. The wife's holding a pistol and he's got a AR-15 rifle. And they were pointing their guns on people that were off their property.
Oh no, they were justified.
Yeah, that's what I'm just wondering because
that's fine.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Yeah, no.
Because maybe he should have just. Maybe the abortion doctor should have just stayed up stayed up next to the door of the abortion clinic and waved the gun. I'm just wondering where he draws the line, because I'm assuming this guy is like probably pro. He's probably pro Second Amendment. Everybody can buy guns.
Yeah. No.
So,
yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
cool.
He definitely is. Yeah.
So, just throwing that out there.
Anything. No movement forward on the case. Didn't even attempt to make any move forward on the case. And when we brought Phoenix PD into it, they even seeing the video, they refused to move on it until you guys contacted Phoenix Police and challenged them 4 hours later. Now, this question. If you had a video of Jeff Durbin, Luke Pearson, Joy, pulling a gun on an abortion doctor outside an abortion facility, what do you think would happen to us?
You'd still be in jail.
How long would that take? How long would it take if
I can actually tell you, if he had pointed a gun at him, he probably would have been out in less than 30 days. That's the problem.
I'm now curious.
This I think is actually like he's trying to do this whole kind of like flips it, like what would have happened if I'd pulled a gun on this abortion doctor being Jeff Durbin or one of Jeff Durbin's like surrogates. Like nothing, possibly nothing. And if you had gotten caught, it could have been 30.
I think the case of one approaching as compared to one established at the presence is different, though.
Right, but
these people are coming up to protest, so they're coming to.
But if you're brandishing at a bunch of protesters, you could be looking at 30 days time served.
People who are outside of abortion facilities preaching the gospel.
So, but that could be his thing. So it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious. Where this? You said this was Arizona. I'm wondering what exactly they said. If the guy was charged, I'm just wondering what he was charged for.
Gospel trying to save children. Pulled a gun on anybody out there. How long do you think it would take to have him arrested, thrown into jail, and tried?
He says he was tried.
And how severe do you think the punishment would be? I think it'd be fairly severe.
Not correct.
I really do. Well, Dr. Ronald Eunice finally received his sentencing yesterday.
A year later.
And tell me about it. What was it? You probably know more details.
The full penalty, which again for us would have been far greater, I think. But I believe it was 2 years.
Of course,
probation,
it would have been much greater for the
felony, anger management classes.
Yes.
So yeah, But the thing is, he's probably going to lose his medical license with the felony.
They don't.
That's good.
Like that.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
that's definitely good for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
that's probably why they wanted him charged.
And that's what got it to work, because once the guy was stressed out enough to actually brandish a gun at them because he was terrified that they were going to blow up his clinic as an abortion doctor, they were able to then press charges because he brandished a gun at them and then say, hey, this medical doctor doesn't have the right to, bear this weapon here. They file a bunch of complaints against him, against the licensing bureau. They remove that license. He can no longer practice there in that state. And that's it. So, Durbin, you want to explain to me how any of this shit that shit is not remotely fair? Not even remotely. So it's
divine law. It transcends fairness.
Yeah, I know, but he's an idiot.
So you got something that can transcend divine law, but divine law transcends fairness. Or would it be divine law is the epitome of fairness? But then if there's something that transcends, never mind. I'm going to go down a rabbit hole. Never mind.
Yeah. I'll play this a little bit, and I'm probably going to wrap this up here a little bit.
Exactly.
Let me
I don't know where I was going with that, but let's go ahead and bring Zach in. Yeah. So Zach Lautenschlager works a lot with a lot of the people at Apologia who are doing important work. He's helped a lot with End Abortion Now. We have this year with End Abortion Now, we've gotten into numerous states, bills of abolition and equal protection into numerous states. We have Texas, Arizona. We helped with the guys who were doing it in Oklahoma, South Carolina, Pennsylvania. We just returned from a rally out there with a bill of equal protection. Zach works a lot with Action for Life. It's a political organization.
Pretty sure this ding dong is working on the legislation that passed in Texas that passed that weird ass revocation of abortion. Well, the state doesn't actually say that you can't have an abortion. It just backs anybody that wants to sue somebody that, if they found out that they had abortion. So, pretty sure that's where Durbin's coming from. He's a piece of shit.
Tell us how you really feel, Jeff.
The political side.
What's up?
Tell us how you really feel about it.
No, this guy's a piece of shit. He's an absolute dickhead. He does stuff down at the border where he basically says that people that come across, from the southern border, they're anathema and they carry diseases and stuff like that. And he's on the border. He's at a place where he can actually minister to these people, and he actually preaches this kind of stuff because I'm pretty sure that the reason he does that is that it makes him money. Because he's a dick. So anybody that
so he doesn't. What is he doing? Ministering to them that that they need to turn around, go back to where they came from, so they can suffer in God's glory and be rewarded in heaven because of the suffering that they've endured here on earth.
Yeah, that sounds lame enough. Yeah.
I'm wondering if that. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds lame enough. Sounds perfect. Yeah, I just, I've got no patience for any of these idiots, like any of these kinds of Christians, because these kinds of people were telling people like us back when we were younger that we needed to show compassion for the lesser, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And these idiots are just fucking angling for views. Like they're just parasites. So.
Oh well. Are you gonna wrap this up?
Yeah.
Okay. I think an hour and a half dosage of this guy, and you got through almost half of this, but it sounded like he was going to get into that spending bill, which probably not that juicy.
He was supposed to get into that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we can check out.
How did you hear about this guy again?
Jeff Durbin, a bunch of different people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I may have heard of him before too, but he's just one of those kind of people that whoop,
yeah.
And gone.
All right. Well, I will check this out. I'll end this broadcast. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Thanks, everybody, in the live chat.
Bye, everybody.
We'll see you later.